When I came back from college, I was blindsided to find a stranger brewing coffee in our kitchen, acting like he owned the place. My mom had moved her new boyfriend into my dad's house, and when I confronted her, she threw me out. But fate had a way of turning the tables when she learned who truly owned the property. Pulling into the driveway, I spotted an unfamiliar sedan parked in the spot where my dad, Richard, always kept his truck. 6 months earlier, we lost him to a sudden heart attack. A devastating blow, especially since he was the epitome of health, hitting the gym regularly, eating clean, and never touching cigarettes. Dad was my anchor. I assumed maybe Mom had a friend over to help with holiday plans. But when I stepped inside, there was this guy in gym shorts and a sleeveless shirt, sipping from the goofy Father's Day mug I'd gifted Dad years ago, covered in cheesy dad jokes. He seemed right at home, which made my stomach churn. Then Mom glided downstairs in a sleek robe I'd never seen before, casually introducing the guy as Alan, her boyfriend who'd moved in 2 weeks prior, like it was no big deal, as if she were mentioning a new appliance. I stood there, my college bag still slung over my shoulder, struggling to process it. When I asked how she could bring someone into our home so soon after Dad's death, her response floored me. She got defensive, insisting she deserved to be happy, and that I, being young, couldn't grasp the complexities of adult relationships. When I called her out for disrespecting Dad's memory, especially by letting Alan use his things, she exploded. She screamed that I was a mistake, a burden trying to dictate her life, and that I should be thankful she even let me visit during breaks. Looking back, this wasn't entirely out of character. Mom had a history of crossing lines that Dad somehow endured. In high school, she'd flirt with my boyfriends whenever they came over, subtle at first, with overly warm compliments or brushing their arms while chatting, always in tight outfits. Once, when my first serious boyfriend arrived to take me to junior prom, she opened the door in a revealing top and shorts, then insisted on snapping photos pressed up close to him. It got so awkward that I stopped inviting anyone over by my final year. I also caught her texting other men multiple times during my teens. When I was 16, I used her phone to call Dad because mine was dead, and a text from my math teacher, Mr. Peterson, popped up about missing her scent. Another time, while Dad was away on business, I saw her giggling over messages from our married neighbor about grabbing coffee. I showed Dad those texts, but he just looked broken and said adults sometimes mess up, and we had to keep the family intact. After the argument about Alan, I stormed upstairs to my room, only to find it unrecognizable. It had been turned into a sterile office space. New paint, my posters gone, a desk where my bed once stood. My belongings were shoved into boxes in the garage. The room that held 22 years of my life had been wiped out in 6 months. Alan then stepped in, trying to play peacemaker, saying change is tough, but I needed to accept that this was Mom's house now, and they were building a new life. He even suggested I find my own place after graduation instead of returning home. That was it for me. I grabbed what I could of my things and Dad's possessions from the garage, stuffed them into my car, and drove to my grandparents' house. My grandparents, James, 75, and Marie, 73, welcomed me without question. Over dinner, they admitted they'd long suspected Mom's behavior. Grandma shared a story from when I was 14. She dropped by unannounced to deliver gardening tools and caught Mom kissing the landscaper in the greenhouse. When they told Dad, he pleaded with them not to tell me, wanting to shield me from the pain and keep our family together. Mom kept texting me, not to apologize, but to demand I return Dad's things, claiming as his widow she owned everything in the house. These weren't expensive items, just sentimental keepsakes like his everyday watch, photo albums from our fishing trips, birthday cards he'd kept, and letters he wrote when I started college. They meant the world to me but nothing to her. The final straw was a message saying Alan needed the garage for his gym equipment, so I had to pick up my junk or she'd toss it. She called me ungrateful, a spoiled brat who couldn't handle her finding happiness again. I blocked her after that. My grandparents are helping me navigate this mess, but I'm still reeling from how quickly Mom erased Dad, replacing him like he was an outdated piece of decor. Update 1, karma has a way of catching up. Yesterday, Dad's best friend, Mark 54, a real estate attorney, came to my grandparents with a bombshell. 3 months before Dad died, he'd transferred the house's deed to my name with Mark's help. Dad had been planning it for months, especially after a health scare at his annual checkup. He wasn't as blind to Mom's actions as we thought. Over lunch with Mark, Dad had mentioned finding hotel receipts in Mom's car and odd charges on their credit card, hinting at her infidelity. He stayed for my sake, knowing his family's heart issues. His father died at 49, his brother at 47, meant he might not have long. Mark brought the legal paperwork proving the transfer was airtight, along with a letter from Dad asking Mark to reveal this only if I needed protection. Dad hoped it wouldn't come to this but wanted me to have a secure home. When Grandpa called Mom to tell her, she lost it, screaming about Dad betraying her and how she sacrificed her youth. She was 26 when they married for him. She accused Grandpa of fabricating it to torment her. Here's the kicker. Alan bolted within hours of learning Mom didn't own the house. He packed his gym gear and left without a word while she was still arguing with Grandpa. Mark uncovered that Alan has a pattern of targeting recent widows, persuading them to sell properties or take loans, then vanishing with the cash. He'd been pushing Mom to sell the house for his latest scam, a crypto fitness venture. My grandparents' lawyer sent Mom a 30-day eviction notice. She responded with a flood of messages, accusing me of ruining her life and saying no daughter should treat her mother this way. She even contacted my college, claiming I was unstable and needed to be sent home, but they didn't buy it. Worse, Mark and I found she'd listed Dad's prized possessions online. His collector's watches meant for my future wedding, his rare vinyls we'd play together, even his grandfather's antique cufflinks, labeled as estate sale at bargain prices. She claimed she needed money because I was selfishly staying at college instead of helping her, ignoring the hefty life insurance payout she got after Dad's death, which cleared their debts and left her comfortable. We also learned Dad had secretly paid off the mortgage with his bonuses, without telling Mom, who kept spending like they were still in debt. The house has been hers free and clear for 2 years. Mom's now spinning a tale to relatives, claiming Dad was controlling and abusive with money, driving her to seek happiness elsewhere. But no one's falling for it, especially since she's already moved most of her things to Alan's place, clearly planning to leave before the truth came out. Evicting Mom turned into a circus requiring police. She ignored the notice, claiming squatters' rights. She posted online about her cruel daughter making her homeless, stirring up distant relatives until they heard the full story. When police arrived, she barricaded herself inside, blaring music to ignore their knocks and yelling about her rights. It took hours and threats to break the door before she relented. That's when we saw the extent of her damage to Dad's belongings. His guitar collection, 20 years in the making, including a 1962 Fender Stratocaster from his dad and signed pieces, was gone, sold off for pennies. His vintage cameras, military medals, and rare books, all sold. She'd been liquidating his things since weeks after his funeral, meeting buyers in parking lots and shipping items nationwide while I was at college, assuming she was mourning. During the move-out, Alan showed up, claiming he'd left items behind. He tried his charming act, suggesting we could all live together. When I shut that down, he admitted Mom had told him the house was paid off true, and she planned to refinance it for his business. He was shocked to learn she had no legal claim. Going through the house, I found bare walls where Dad's family photos once hung, his office gutted, his handmade oak desk sold, his workshop stripped of every tool. The garage pegboard showed ghostly outlines of his missing tools. Then I found Dad's journals in an attic Christmas box Mom overlooked. For years, he'd documented her lies, missing money, hotel charges, her car at places she denied visiting. A month before he died, he wrote about seeing her with Alan at a restaurant looking cozy. Instead of confronting her, he focused on securing my future, finalizing the house transfer in his final weeks. Neighbors started sharing stories. One saw Mom with men in the driveway late at night while Dad was away. Another spotted her with Alan predating Dad's death. Security footage Dad installed, which Mom mostly deleted, had backups she missed, showing her selling his things with Alan's help, likely planning to claim they were stolen if I asked. My uncle, Dad's brother, helped change the locks and upgrade security. He revealed Dad stayed in the marriage because Mom threatened a brutal custody fight if he left, wanting to spare me that pain. Mom's latest stunt was showing up at the house, dressed in her funeral outfit, sobbing loudly for neighbors to hear about needing the guest room due to panic attacks. When I mentioned a restraining order, her tears vanished, and she berated me for not appreciating her sacrifices. Alan's ex-wife, Karen, contacted me after seeing Mom's victim posts online. She said Mom used the same sob story to hook Alan, who dumped her after learning she lied about a non-existent inheritance from her living parents. who cut her off years ago for unpaid debts. Their breakup was public. My cousin recorded Alan yelling at Mom in a parking lot for making him look foolish, while she threw a drink at him, calling him a gold digger. Mom then claimed maternal rights to visit the house, sending a fake legal document via a friend. When that failed, she accused me of holding Dad's things hostage. Neighbors reported her driving by the house daily, sometimes parking for hours, watching. One offered to hide my car so she wouldn't know I was home. She sent a family-wide email with staged hospital photos, claiming I caused her health issues, but my cousin, a hospital employee, confirmed it was a routine visit. Relatives shut her down with screenshots of her eBay sales. With no one left to manipulate, Mom moved to Arizona, staying in her sister Kathy's guest house. Kathy, who hadn't spoken to her in years over a $20,000 unpaid loan. Before leaving, Mom tried one last grab, showing up with a U-Haul and hired help for her antiques. Police stopped her, as I documented everything. She left cursing me as an ungrateful demon who'd regret this when I'm a mother. In Dad's old office, I found a hidden panel with a letter from 2 weeks before his death. He explained staying with Mom to avoid a custody war, fearing her manipulative nature and her treatment of past stepkids from a brief prior marriage I never knew about. He included photos of happier times and notes on her lies, missing money, job-related changes, caught falsehoods. He'd protected me by transferring the house. I'm renovating the house now, undoing Mom's changes, repainting her gray walls with Dad's blue, rebuying his furniture from local shops, like his leather recliner I found nearby. I'm finishing my degree online to live here as Dad intended, a safe haven from Mom's schemes. His office is cozy again, with his record player back from a pawn shop and books I could recover. Mom's emails go to a folder I ignore. Aunt Kathy says she's already stirring trouble in Arizona, but that's not my burden anymore. I'm focused on honoring Dad's legacy and the future he fought to give me.